by taking the real play and creating all of this behind the scenes drama to work subtextually off of each other. It's like a masterclass. I was totally blown away from it. Oh, what a treat today. I am so excited. This next guest's filmography is amazing. He's done Buried with Ryan Reynolds, Red Lights with De Niro, Cillian Murphy, Sigourney Weaver, and we're going to talk about his next film, Love Gets a Room. Writer, director, Rodrigo Cortés, thank you for being on with us.
No, thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Love Gets a Room is amazing. You got me. You made a grown man cry, sir.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear that.
Oh man, it's such a touching film, and it's so intelligently done by taking the real play and creating all of this behind the scenes drama to work subtextually off of each other. It's like a masterclass. I was totally blown away from it. Absolutely amazing.
Well,
so
that was sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead. I'm listening.
No. I was going to say that probably that was the hardest part, to try to play with these 3-ring circles, because it's like a story within a story.
Yeah.
So we have the play, and the play is funny. The play is funny, though the play talks about the real conditions of people who live in the ghetto. So they sing and they dance, but they talk about the violence of the Jewish police, or about the corruption, or about illness or death or whatever. And also we have the real actors who perform the characters, who have a very, very different performing energy, and you have to get from one to another constantly. But also both things little by little get mixed. So there's one point in which actors communicate through the lines of the characters. Yeah. So I guess that was the toughest thing to play with.
I mean, the blurring there is so crucial, because you're getting to know the actors, and the actors really are their characters, even though they're kind of playing these bumbling, funny characters in this play. And you know, the play is about Jewish people who are freezing to death, they're starving, and they're still putting on a comedy play in Warsaw. And what I really thought adds to that visual look of it is, like, you're looking at these actors as they're performing this comedy. They look hungry, they look cold, they look stressed out, but yet they're still trying to perform for this audience who's feeling exactly the same. And it creates this empathetic feel for those characters just innately being on screen.
Yeah, in a way, the film is about a very small, trembling candle in the middle of a huge ocean of darkness. But no matter how huge this ocean is, there's always a light. And I don't mean to sound cheesy, because these actors are doing what they know how to do, and they are being who they are, and that's it. They like real actors do. I mean, your actor, your father dies, and you still do the play. You cry for him tomorrow, or maybe you have a fever, but you still do the play. And or maybe the lights go out, but you light a few candles, but you still do the play. And that's because you're generous, but also it's because you're selfish, and because you want an applause, because that's what your food is, you know, in a way. And also under the most inconvenient conditions. Because what we have here is real human being, which main goal is living for another half an hour. Yeah. So you cannot judge them. So playing with all this and trying not so much to tell the history, but the story itself, not giving lessons, but focusing on the real emotions of these very specific people, not trying to make archetypes out of them, but real people, was probably what I focused on the most.
Yeah, real people are complicated, and you really bring out that humanity in those characters. And that let's just touch on that for a second, because one of the themes I was noticing while watching this film was it's really kind of, from my perspective, it's about love versus survival, and then you also have a little bit of the selfishness in there as well. And I really saw you playing with that throughout the story, where you really don't know where it's going. You think you know where it's going. You kind of guide us down a path of, this is where it could go. But at the very end, you're totally shocked, and it was such a pleasure to see that twist.
Yeah, no, you never know where you're going to, because our characters don't know where they are going to, and they are trying to fix something that cannot be fixed,
Yeah,
actually. And if you focus on our main role character, Stevcha, she goes through every possible human emotion, because she's strong, but she's fragile, but she's selfish and capricious, but she's so sacrificed, but she's
yeah,
gentle, but she's everything, because she's trying to understand what's going on, and she's trying to understand herself in 45 minutes. So you have to deal with that. And the funny thing is that for some reason, I focused, or I thought constantly on two masters. One is Billy Wilder,
okay,
because he can be so pessimistic and also so funny at the same time, with this poisoned humor as a way of surviving. But also, no matter how cynical he looks, he's also a romantic.
hmm,
Like, he didn't trust mankind at all, but he still trusted love, and probably only love. And also, for some reason, when I read the first draft that David Safier, this German writer, brilliantly did before I did the following rewrites, I also thought on Orson Welles, because I thought he would
yeah,
have loved to do a film like this, because it's a cinematic challenge,
yeah,
definitely, but also it's about this world he knew so well, theater.
hmm,
He loved so much from the inside, and of course I don't compare with any of both, but like when I did, for instance, Buried, I constantly thought on Hitchcock. In this
oh
case,
yeah, absolutely.
my candles were dedicated to Billy Wilder and Orson Welles.
It makes sense to me. Really, and also looking at the perspectives you take, because you'll have the audience perspective of watching the play, and then you'll cut to almost like over the shoulder behind the scenes where we're watching the actors perform, and you'll see a tonal shift there. One actor will give another actor a look while they're delivering the line. And so it gives us another insight into that subtext of who they are and what they're feeling, and the myriad emotions that they have. Speaking of Stefcha, one of the things that I really picked up with her that I appreciated is, off the get-go, she's defiant. She wants her own agency as a woman. When she's hiding from the Nazi soldiers, she has this coat, and it's not legal, but it's keeping her warm. And the guy's like, "Let me get rid of that for you." And she's like, "No, I'm going to keep this. It keeps me warm." Like, she's already, right from the get-go, she's defiant. And that really escalates when she does her scene with Zilberman. And I was like, wow, because it's so incredible seeing a song and dance number that is really revealing how a woman can be put in a position of exploitation like that, and how she is fighting back and standing up for herself, and watching the audience perspective go through that was so impressive.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I guess that was one of the toughest things to do, to play with point of view at the end of the day, because when you see things from the perspective of the audience, and you see one of these general shots of the stage, you see the scene in a way, but when you get to the stage, you can hear the same lines and they mean something completely
Yeah.
different. They become the subtext of the real relationship between the characters, the real ones, not the characters they play. And also it may be different from what you could see from the left wing, or from what you could feel in the dressing room, listening to what's going on stage. And sometimes you don't even cut from one place to another, but sometimes you do that in one single take. So you have these actors who are the real actors, and they have very grounded and harsh emotions and feelings, and you are already hearing some song, and they get out with no cuts to sing their lines in the right moment, and their energy changes in front of you, and they have a very different level of performance, so expansive and so popular. And then they get out to the wing again, and again their energy changes in front of you with no cuts, and the song has to still play, and you have to try to have control of that choreography. But also it was a blast, probably because it was difficult, and also what's really difficult also is what in a way more rewarding when you finally get it, if you're lucky enough to get it.
I mean, you usually see the long take or the one take. It's always prevalent in action films, even though Hitchcock did use long takes way back in the day. But to see it done as a song and dance number, going from like a back play into the front, is incredible. And I didn't even realize it was happening. That's how smooth it was until you mention it. And I go, oh my God, he's absolutely right. It's that smooth of a transition, which is like just so amazing. And seeing actors, which I've seen in other films, like Clara Rugard, I had no idea she could sing, and she's out here just, she's got pipes. It's amazing.
Actually, she's from Denmark, and she was when she was small, she was Annie at the Copenhagen stage.
Oh.
So she's a brilliantly trained natural singer, but of course nobody knew before we did that. But it was a very complex cast process, open to whole Europe. So we have, of course, British and Irish actors, but also our German officer is Swedish, for instance, or Clara, she's Danish, or Ada is Italian, for instance, or the little kid, the little girl, is Spanish. So, but all of them are great performers, but also great singers, because they needed to sing live. Everything you hear in the movie comes from that specific take. We never used playback or back and tracks or anything like that. They really sang to bring not also the right tune, they needed to get that, but also the specific emotion, and also this physical effort that comes from a jump or turn or whatever. And they needed to do it again and again and again. So they are brilliant at so many levels. I was so lucky.
It's incredible because you can feel the emotion behind the songs, and the fact that they weren't dubbing any of it in after is amazing. Looking at the source material and really how historic this is, how much pressure did you feel to have to really stay true to this while, adjusting and adapting to the source material?
Well, I guess I decided not to feel pressure, because you disappoint someone from the very moment you wake up in the morning. So you have to take that for granted and then focus on the story. And also I decided to focus again on the story, not so much on history. I said before, this play really existed. It was performed in the rawest winter in 1942. And the story is not real. This group of actors are like a tribute to the real group of actors who did this, but they didn't leave this specific predicament. But the play existed. Jerzy Jurandot wrote it. It survived. The text survived. The lyrics survived. Not the songs. We needed to reinvent them. We needed to recompose them. And I thought, don't judge anything, just understand them. This was funny. Jerzy Jurandot decided this to be funny, probably because they needed this.
Yeah,
they needed to laugh for an hour at least. And this play was a huge success in the ghetto. And this is hard to believe how this is even possible. But well, it happened. So do it. Do it again. Trust that energy, and remember that you are telling the story of a group of actors. Don't think so much on the fact that they are you, or don't think so much on the fact that this was a very representative or very important or relevant aspect of history. Focus on them, on their own needs and emotions, and above all, don't give lessons. Don't give lessons nobody asked you, and don't give lessons you are not entitled to give.
Don't teach a history lesson. I love that.
Exactly.
Is there, I guess I want to say, I just want to ask, because you've been with some, you've been in some impressive films. You've been with some impressive actors. Is there any moment when making this film that really stands out to you, that you really treasure?
Well, a few of them, because this uses to sound cheesy when you describe the ambient of the film, because everybody says we were like a huge family, wasn't sad when we finished. But in this case, something happened. They were really a troupe. They behaved like a real troupe, and we were always in that theater that became our base camp in a way. And we lived that energy every day. People wanted to do something relevant every moment, but every morning. But there was a very, very difficult moment that also was joyful, though it shouldn't. And because it's one of the tensest scenes in the film.
Yeah.
I don't want to explain too much. So
no spoilers.
No spoilers. But there's a scene that I'm sure you understand, in which one of our more dangerous characters do a very tense speech.
Yeah.
But this long speech is also funny at some level, in a way. And when I wrote it, in a way, I needed to enjoy it for a while. Because when you write a character, when you write a dialogue, you have to incarnate that character for a moment. And I didn't want a plain villain doing something like this.
No twirling his mustache. Yeah.
So exactly, you want him to be fascinating in a way, and you want to feel hypnotized. And at the same time, this was very complex because we had our whole troupe on stage, our 12 actors, and also 300 extras around, and we needed to get real emotions from them. So this was difficult, but also it was one of the most rewarding experiences we lived together.